You are listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast exploring scripture with Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb and Dr. Fredrick J. Long. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to Proof Text. I'm Michael Halcomb, and I'm here with Fred Long. We're continuing to discuss verbs. And in this episode, part 5, I believe, we want to talk about a couple characteristics of the verb, person and number. And if you want the Greek vocabulary for person, it's prosopon, and number is arithmos.
Arithmos, that should be easy. Arithmos.
Yep, prosopon, person, and arithmos, number.
Yeah,
so
these categories are helpful when you're parsing a verb. To parse a verb means to provide an explanation of its grammatical features. So when these verbs, we've been looking up in lexical forms, but when they're used in live sentences, there are different endings, sometimes even prefixes, and this provides information about the grammatical subject, the number of it, and the person of it, as well as other features. So this is called parsing a verb to understand what these endings are conveying. When we parse a verb, we're going to try to tell its tense, its voice, and its mood. And we'll talk about those things in future episodes. And then person and number. So person has to do with the perspective of the subject, whether it's an I or we. That would be first person, singular, plural. I, singular, plural is we. You or y'all. So you, singular, y'all, plural. We can get away with that in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Or third person, he, she, it. Don't say that too fast. He, she, or it, singular. In the plural, it's they. So person refers to first, second, or third. So first is first person, it's I, we. Second is you all. Third, he, she, or it, or they in the plural. And then we have the number, which is easy. First person or singular, one entity, or plural, more than one entity.
So I have an example. I just got a ton of words up here on the screen. So we have the word apopleo. This, by the way, is lexicon.katavivlon.com. So if I click this, which means to sail off, well, this one actually doesn't give me the inflection chart. I chose one that doesn't have an inflection chart. Let's see.
Inflects them out, huh?
Yeah, it's really, really a cool thing. It's got essentially every word, and it does that. Here's one, opto, to touch. Click for inflections. So here we go. And the way the paradigm is broken down, there's a Greek word for this one, paradigma. Paradigma, that's paradigm, pretty much just a transliteration. You can see first, second, and third person here, right? In the enikos, in the platindikos, we have the prosopon. Proton prosopon, devteron prosopon, ketriton prosopon. First, second, and third person. So, Fred, what are these endings doing here?
Well, they're telling us grammatical information of person and a number, as well as helping tell us a little bit about the voice and the mood. and so these endings there's a bunch of information that these endings are conveying, and to parse a verb is to understand that information. So they're telling us all kinds of things, and there's 5 things: tense, voice, mood, and then person and number. And we kind of introduced you into person and number. Now typically the verb number needs to agree with the subject. So if you have a singular subject like Paul, that's third person, and then you'd have an ending that matches that. Now there is something a little bit funky where with neuter nouns, you can have plural entities, but they can work with third singular verbs. So the subject technically is third plural, but it's neuter. and it can work with a third singular. So if you look at 1 John 3:10, it says, "In this the children of God are manifest." Now, the children of God is the subject. It's plural. It'd be third person plural. You'd expect the verb to be isin, are. They are plural. But in the Greek, it's estin, which is third singular. So literally, the children of God is manifest. But so this is a phenomenon that beginning students usually are taught at some point, that neuter third plural subjects can take third singular verbs, and often do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So your grammar terms for this episode: paradigma, paradigm; person, prosopon; and number, arithmos. And if you want to do first, second, and third person, proton, prosopon; deuteron, prosopon; και triton, prosopon. And you have your first, second, and third person there. So we're learning some of the meta language and what that allows us to do. And so what I'll do in my classes, for instance, when we're looking at a text, or when we're going through a story, like whether that's reading or just talking about a story, right? So I can just come to a text like this verse here, 1 John 3:10, and I can work at the story level, and I can say something like, I don't know, tis ta tekna tu theu, right? Who are the children of God? So I can work at the sort of story level, but I can also ask grammatical questions in terms of the meta language. So I can ask something like,
well, what are they? Yeah, what are the tekna tu theu? Then they would say they are phanera, right? They are manifest.
Yeah. Yeah, or o puon dikeasune, the one doing righteousness, right? Or something like that. So we could give all kinds of answers and work at the story level, or go to the meta language level, and I could say Alexis estin, the vocabulary word estin, tis arithmos. What's the number? O arithmos estin triton prosopon. Que tisochronos. What's the tense? And so we could then go off into tense. We go off into number and ketadupa, so on and so forth. So operating at both the meta level and then the verse level, the story level. And so it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching or listening. Share this with others. We hope that helps.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.